Get ready with me as I talk about something that has been heavy on my noggin. So, what if I say I've heard something terrible about you? And maybe you've heard something about me as well. That's how rumors work, you know? They travel faster than the truth and grow louder every time somebody whispers it to the next person. One person just assumes, the other one adds a detail, and somebody else fills in the blank, and suddenly there's this whole version of you walking around and you don't even know that person anymore. And sometimes it gets too much that it shapes the way people look at you, but that's not important. The important part is that if you're not grounded in the truth, then it starts messing with how we look at ourselves, and that could be dangerous. The thing about rumors is that people love consuming it, and they don't care how much truth there is to it. They're just in for the drama. So, my dear Christian friends, when you hear one about yourself, and I'm not saying if you hear, I'm saying when you hear, because you're bound to hear it someday or the other. So when you hear a rumor about yourself, do not retaliate, because that's what the enemy wants. I have done it in the past, and that is not biblical. Trust me, you will regret it as a Christian. But in my defense, I think I was juvenile at that time, and I didn't know the best way to handle it. But now that I'm older, I know better than not to give it to the enemy what he wants. And by enemy, I don't mean the people who hurt you or the people who talk bad about you. I mean the one who worked in them to make them do what they did. And as for the people who talked about you, think of them as victims and pray for them. I know it's easier said than done, but this is the only biblical way to respond to it. Pray for them, for you to be able to forgive them, as well as for them to be able to know that what they did was wrong, and for them to seek forgiveness. Because at the end, that's it. Think of it this way. No matter how much this person has hurt you, and no matter how much you want to hate that person at that point, that person is still a creation of God, and Jesus still died on the cross for them just as much as he did for you and me. So you have no business carrying around bitterness for somebody who was created by God, your creator himself. And so I think it made it a lot more easier for me to accept it that way, and it changed my perspective, kind of. So it helped me in my healing process, and I hope that it heals you too, because that's the truth. And whether we like it or not, we have to respond to it biblically. Speaking of response, here's how we as Christians should respond to rumors. Not to the people, but to the rumors. So first check if these rumors are based on facts, like actual facts. And if they are, well then there's no point of checking others. You should be checking yourself, you know? And in the second case, if the rumors are like not fully true, but are partially true, check which parts have hurt other people, which parts are not in line with the Word of God. And maybe you can pray about it, read the Bible. That's how we test our hearts. We check whether our actions or behavior is in line with the Word of God, whether it is pleasing to the Lord. Now the catch is when the rumors are based on absolute lies, like they're just baseless, then that's when you do nothing. I have reacted to rumors in the past in a way that just wasn't pleasing to God, okay? And I acted out of emotions, because at that time I just wanted to know why people would talk the way they did. But again, that's not biblical, and it shouldn't have been that way. I wish I knew better, but now we all do, okay? So do not react. If you know you haven't done anything, then you have to be still and know that there's a God working for you, fighting your battles. And if you take the charge, then obviously things are going to go haywire, okay? And if we're not careful, we could even possibly turn God's wrath towards us instead. So we have to be very careful. Just pray about it. Like, it's super tempting to just go and tell your side of the story to other people. I've done that, but really nobody cares. I mean, even if they did, they have so much on their plate, and all they can do is listen about it. There's no solution to that. But when you bring it to God instead of those people, even if it's your besties, listen, I know besties always has the right things to say and the exact things that you would want to hear in that situation. But if you go to your besties before actually getting settled yourself, then there's a high chance that you might take decisions emotionally, and it might be very different from how God would have wanted you to react in that situation. So what I mean to say is, first take your time in prayer, and then if it's too much, you can go to a spiritual person. And by spiritual, I don't mean religious, but a person who's actually spiritually rooted in the Word of God, and that could actually direct you to the right path. And only when necessary, you go to your friends because there's a saying, don't let your friends know what you wouldn't want your enemies to know, because word gets out anyway, okay? So among the 3 cases that we talked about just now, the case where the rumors are found to be absolutely true, partially true, or not true at all, then it's harder to forgive people when you find yourself in the third position, in the third case, right? But forgiveness, like forgiving others, is not an option. It is a command by God. And just as you have been forgiven, you should also forgive others. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but that's about it. Now you're going to ask me, what about my image? Where's my justice? There are possibilities, in fact, even higher possibilities, that your image will never be restored as it was before the rumors were spread. But ultimately, it's not about that. It's not about how people look at you. It's rather about whether your reaction to that rumor has been consistent with the word of God, like I said, and that's a form of sacrifice. That's a form of carrying our own cross, just like Jesus did. And that's hard to accept, but again, it's not an option. Now, I know the Bible talks about... Okay, let me get this first. I know the Bible talks about how avenge is God's part and not ours. And I don't want you to rely on that as well, because it is misleading. Like, that makes us kind of wait on the kind of revenge that God is going to put them through. And that is also bad, because now our intentions are spotted according to the world. So my point here is, let us not worry about whether justice will be served or not, because justice was not served according to the world when Jesus died on the cross. So God works in mysterious ways, and I hope that He has the best things for you. And let's learn to forgive others. Let's learn to put away every malice, every form of wrath, every form of anger towards anybody. And if we do still think about that person as I'm talking about this, if somebody comes to your head, then let's just pray about it after this video. Let us take it to God, ask God that He will give you the strength and the perseverance and the ability to forgive that person as much as He has also forgiven us, right? And if we look at it that way, then I think it will be the start of a new journey, a journey of healing for us as well, because now we're changing this perspective, and in the meantime, we are being transformed. That's our goal as Christians. Our goal is not to be justified, it is to be transformed and be in alignment with God. And in the process of that healing, I pray that you will find God. And I'm also in the process of learning, healing, and finding God. And I hope that all of us are also more careful about not being the cause of somebody's rumors as well. That's very important. Goodbye.